is appreciated. So welcome and thank you for spending time listening to this program. So now let's start our discussion. Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome this morning. It's again a beautiful, gorgeous, sunshining day here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And for those of you who are up north and it's been snowing and it's cold, I kind of feel for you today because it is just a wonderful day to go outside and do many things. But any day is a good day to go outside and do many things. So let's get the day started. Get the day started for you too, or the evening, whenever you're listening. And let's do a very short meditation to quiet our minds, to relax our thoughts, to be open to new information. So if you're driving or operating some type of machinery, then it's time to either pull over to the side of the road or to just wait until another time when you can sit down, close your eyes and relax. Otherwise, just relax. Take a deep breath in and out. Another deep breath in and out. And I want to give thanks for this wonderful, glorious, beautiful day. I want to be thankful for all the blessings that we have received, and that we want to be grateful and thankful for the position where we are today. We want to be thankful for all the great and glorious things in our lives. We want to be thankful for the process that we're about to talk about, and that's creating our world through meditation and affirmations. I'll take another deep breath in and out. And be still and listen to that voice of yours that is deep down inside you. That voice that will help you again to learn, that voice, that inner voice that tells you when you need to do something, when you need to call someone, when you need to turn the burner off in case it's on. That little inner voice called your intuition. Let it grow. And so it is. All right, so why is meditation so important to you for gaining success? What does combining it with affirmations do to connect you with God, with higher intelligence, with the creator of all that is? What does it do? And why does it give you much faster results? All right. So I'm going to also refer to meditation as prayer, because in a prayerful state, you are calm most of the time, relaxed. You are in a very focused state. And when you're in a very focused state, there is a reason why you are doing this. We want to be calm and relaxed for a number of reasons. So let's talk about brain waves. Brain waves, these things, they're brain in your head. All right, so we've got these thought processes. And when we're thinking, we are using energy. So if you've had a very, I'll call it mental day, if you have been at work with your head down concentrating, or you're in school and you're studying really hard for an exam, if you are doing any type of mental work, you realize that after a number of hours, you are tired. And many times I've heard people say, I need brain food. Yes, I do need brain food. And so that's because we've been expending a lot of energy. So mental work can be just as tiring as physical work. Well, let's see what's going on. Now, many of you know what an EEG is. It's an electroencephalogram, and they put probes on your head in order for you to for them to record your electrical impulses in your head. And what was found initially, they found one brainwave initially, and they called it the alpha brainwave. Well, in reality, it's a little slower, but it's the alpha brainwave. The second one they found was called the beta brainwave, and it runs a little faster. So imagine you're on a bicycle, a stationary bicycle, and you are just going for it, full out. Your legs are moving really fast, and you're circling, and the wheels are moving really great. That is representative of what I would call the gamma brainwave. This is the one that shows up when you are in stress, like when you've heard about a mother who's picked up a car off of their child, someone who moves great weights and they're a small person because the adrenaline flowed, their mind was moving so fast. I also liken it to just moving really quickly and thinking very fast. And that is only done in spurts. So we've got gamma, very fast. Then we have beta, which is around what is referred to as cycles per second, or hertz, how quickly it's moving. All right, little lines, little squiggly lines, how fast are they moving? And it's around 20 hertz where we're normal in the beta, and that's like now when I'm talking to you and having a conversation. You're normal every day where everything is black or white, yes or no, good or bad. This is where we operate most of the time. But where we really want to operate, or at least dip into during the day, when we're thinking and going through things, is the alpha state, which is slower, around 14 cycles per second. And in 14 cycles per second, this is where our intuition kicks in. 14 cycles per second is when a hypnotist will get you in order to help you stop smoking, lose weight, get rid of anxiety. Commercials used to be cycled at 14 cycles per second so that you would slow down, your brain would slow down, and so therefore you would hear their message much easier. That is alpha. And then there's theta, which is even slower. And theta is 7 cycles per second. And in theta is normally when we are sleeping. and we go into what is referred to as REM sleep. You know, when we are dreaming, our brains are running a little slower. However, this is the deep, what I want to call the anteroom of God, because this is where lots of information comes into you and flows into you from the universal mind, from this consciousness that we are a part of, because we all are a part of everyone else. And then at the very bottom is called delta. Delta is about 0.5 cycles per second. This is when you say, I am, or I had a good sleep. I slept like a log, because your brain waves had slowed down very slow. This is when the brain wave you're at when you come into the world and when you exit. The brain waves go very slow in the beginning. Okay, so I changed my voice a little bit to represent this speed up and that slowdown of your brain and your mind. And so, but what does this have to do with meditation? Well, let's just talk about this. The subconscious mind, really, I've talked about the before, but it is the ruler of the world inside of you. It controls all your subjective sensations, such as joy, fear, love, emotion, your breathing, your heartbeat. It also controls your imagination. Your subconscious really takes over when we are slowed down our mind. Remember I said in alpha, this is where a hypnosis occurs, and you drop in and out of a hypnotic state all day long. Example again is if you were driving and you were intending to go to the grocery store and you realized, hey, you're pulling into your driveway because your body went on automatic. Do you remember learning to tie a shoe or teaching someone how to tie a shoe and how difficult it was, but after a while it became automatic? You now tie your shoes without thinking about it because your subconscious mind recorded the process of tying a shoe. So by learning to go into the subconscious, we become actively connected with the universal mind, the Holy Spirit, higher intelligence, and become able to connect to the infinite constructive forces of the universe. Because we were given, as I talked about last week, we were given the power of creation. We have been given the power of the word. Every day you are creating your life by what you think. You are creating your life by the things that you progress or things you do, the thoughts you have, and the reactions you have to those thoughts. So by learning to coordinate your objective mind, your conscious mind, your beta brain, and your subjective mind, your subconscious, and also so being able to coordinate them and then understanding their functions, you'll tap into the great secrets of life and you will connect the finite with the infinite. Your future is entirely in your control. The power is within you and within you alone because you have been given the power. You have been given the power of this energy that is all around us. As I said, many refer to that energy, that capability that has been given to us as the Holy Spirit. And many people recognize the Holy Spirit. Others do not. I got a question from last week's show, or the week before show. Anyway, I got a question. And the question was about when I was talking about the I am statements, right? I am the power and presence of God incarnate in the flesh. I am a powerful human being. And the question was, well, I just can't say that I am. And I want to explain, as I explained to her, is that it took me months and months and months, at least 8 months of reading and studying and going through the scriptures and going through books after books, because remember I told you I'm a scientist in the sense that I research. I look for things, right? And I want to find the truth behind matter. But then there's another truth. There's another thing. And that's, you can test this out yourself. And you go, well, what do you mean test this out yourself? You know, do I test God? I'm not asking you to test God. I'm asking you to put in place the things that he gave us. So it's not a test of him. It's a test of, do you believe that you have this gift? Or do you believe that you were created in the image of God? And that the image of God is not somebody on a throne in heaven. The image of God is this power that we were given so that we could have the things that we needed, right? So here's just one test that I did, and many others. Let me tell you, many, and I'm going thousands, if not millions of others have done this, and they went, wow. Think about something that you would like to be given. And I went very simply, I want a parking space up front in the mall. And this one time was Christmas time. And my daughter was with me. And I asked for that, a parking space near the front. I don't want to have to park all the way in the back. So we're driving up and we go in, and my daughter says, Mom, there's a parking spot back here. You know, why don't you park here? And I go, no. She says, why? I said, there's a parking spot near the front. But this is, you know, look how many cars are here. I said, there's a parking spot near the front. So we went up one aisle and there was no parking spot. But as we were going up another aisle, just as I got near the front, a car pulled out and I pulled in. And she said, okay, I see that. And then we went shopping again. And we got up front and there was a parking spot. We've gone shopping again and she goes, you get a parking spot up front every time. I said, yes. I've asked for it. Right now it's on auto program. I expect it when I go shopping. There are times when I decide I'm going to park near the back, right? Because I want to walk today. I want to get a little exercise. And so when I get out of the car, I go through the process of accessing my mind and I go, oh, yes, I appreciate the parking spot. right? I appreciate the parking spot because I know it's there for me. And when I get near the front, either a car is just pulling out or had just pulled out, there's a parking spot up front. That's just a small test. Or ask for a cup of coffee, right? Just a simple cup of coffee. And when you, to be given to you by a stranger, one woman was in a training class and um, she said, I'm having a hard time with this information. And the leader of the class said, all right, ask for something to be given to you. Don't tell anyone, don't say what it is. And she asked for a cup of coffee. And that afternoon, a gentleman came up to her who they talked a little bit during the conference, but not much. And he walked up to her and said, you know, I think you need a cup of coffee. You know, would you like this? Because I realized I didn't need it. Another woman was the same thing. She asked the same thing, and um, she was in the airport, and all of a sudden, you know, she was going in. She was in Starbucks, and this person, she had seen them just pick the Starbucks coffee up off the counter from the barista, and he came over and handed it to her and said, I don't know, I heard you ordered this drink. My friend had to run and catch their flight, and I don't drink this. Would you take this? And it was like, what? Yes. So this is what, and so that was an answer to her request. Meditation is important because we tap into the information that will help us do the things we need to. So when we go into a meditative state and we relax our brains and get into the alpha or the theta state. And when you say your affirmation during this mental state and you are completely focused, you are, I'll call it on speed dial, because you are talking to your subconscious mind who controls the way you think, the way you act, the way you react. You know, in previous conversations on this show, I've talked about how the subconscious mind actually controls you. So you're talking to your subconscious mind, and now you're retraining your brain and you're retraining the ideas that you have, those sub-programs that are running in the background in your brain. I am not worthy. I'm not good at this job. This job stinks. I can't find a better job. There are no jobs out there. I don't know how to handle money. Money just goes through my head. These are things that continue to roll in your mind, in the background, that you're not aware of. Just like programs on your computer are running that you're not aware of. So as you're going through and you're doing your affirmations, and you say that you are, and I'm trying to, you know, sometimes I don't remember some things, right? It's like, what are some of my affirmations? I am a well-known radio host. I am an international speaker, traveling around the world, talking and speaking to many people, helping to change their lives. You might be dealing with finding a better job. I am a wonderful telephone, what do I want to say, marketer. I am a wonderful telemarketer. People listen to my presentation and understand, and they buy from me. I am a wonderful nurse who heals many people. I am a doctor. I am a dentist. I am a cab driver who knows my city so well, and I make more money than any other cab driver in my garage. I have the home of my dreams. Whatever your affirmation is, it becomes stronger when you are doing it within the meditative state. And going into meditation is as simple as what I do first thing during this broadcast. Closing your eyes, monitoring your breathing, having extraneous thoughts leave your mind. Recognize they're there, and then have them go. Recognize that they are coming in and let them go. Well, I just got a little buzz in my ear saying that I only have about 60 seconds on air with you, but I'm going to continue my conversation because it will continue recording. And we're going to talk a little bit more about this. But in the meantime, those of you who are leaving, just go to the website commandingyourlife.com. You can download the Palace of Possibilities meditation that teaches you about visualization. There's also some meditations that you can purchase, and one of them is the Spiritual Sanctuary that will help you go into a meditative state, and then it has some time in the middle where you can do your affirmations. So that one is called the Spiritual Sanctuary, where you go in to the anteroom of God and ask for what you want. Also, you can get your free Silver Ultramind lesson by going to silverfox.silvercourses.com. So let me continue here a little bit now about this thing of creating success through meditation and affirmations. My new book that's coming out in May, that's the tentative date is in May. It's called Mega Manifesting 10 Commands for Abundant Living. And in those 10 commands, they're not just 10 individual commands, but they're 10 areas of your life that you may want to make some major changes. Okay? Those areas could be trust, spirituality, health and wellness, relationships, gratitude, personal growth, purpose, wealth, performance, business. Those are the basic areas people are dealing with. And I'm talking about each one of those areas, and then I'm going to, in each one of those chapters that deals with that will be affirmations. But not only that, I'm going to give you multiple ways in order to do those affirmations, depending on you, right? Depending on you. And what do I mean by that? Well, some of us just go into a meditative state very easily. And that meditative state, then they can do their affirmations. Other people find it very difficult to do that. They find it very difficult to get their mind slowed down and to ask for what they want in a very easy way. So during this, I'm going to show you 4 processes within the book. One is the prime directive that I talked about 3 weeks ago, I think it was. Another method is going to be called Wouldn't It Be Nice If? And basically is, wouldn't it be nice if I had that cup of coffee given to me, right? Wouldn't it be nice if I could get an extra day off from work? It's usually done when we have a hard time believing what we're asking for can happen. The spiritual sanctuary is the third one. And then the mental video technique by Jose Silva is the fourth one. So the 4 processes within that book that's going to help you get into that meditative state, teach you the whys and wherefores that I get a little bit of each week on this show. All right. So use the technique. So what I'm going to have you do is use the technique that is best for you. All right? Because when it gets down to it, Sidney Mawed said, "Our subconscious minds have no sense of humor. It plays no jokes. It cannot tell the difference between reality and an imagined thought or image. So what we continually think about eventually will manifest in our lives." So take the time to look around you and what's in your life and who is in your life, and see how you manifested that person in your life. People. And I'm not just talking about your family, I'm talking the people that you associate with. Look around you and see what circumstances you're in, and think about the way you think about the circumstances you're in and how you got there. And not look at it as an external thing that happened to you, but look at it as an internal thing. Now, the natural disasters, that's something different, because that's a collective consciousness. But personal things, I've met many people who have lost all of their things multiple times in their lives. Not necessarily due to a natural disaster, but then when we talked about why they lost everything, we wound up talking about the way they thought, the way they reacted, the way they acted, and in the end, they saw how their actions, their thought processes, their reactions to circumstances eventually led to them losing everything. But they also looked at the way they gained it all back and what they did. And there are people who gain and lose, get money, lose money, get money, because of the way they think. So think about what you want to change in your life. Think about what is good for you. And then ask for it. Not paying attention to what is here now. Not paying attention to the 5 senses that you have. What you see, what you hear, what you taste, what you feel. Ignore all that and think about what you ultimately want. Ask for it. And also think about what it will feel like, what it will look like. What will you do when it occurs? I have a friend who is looking for a particular automobile and is working to manifest that particular vehicle. And so we've done the meditation and we put the affirmations inside the meditations, and she visualizes driving that vehicle. She visualizes listening to the radio in that vehicle. When she's driving a vehicle now, she pretends that she's driving her ultimate vehicle. Together, we've created a scene that will happen when she gets it. And you go, a scene that will happen? Oh, yeah. When I manifested my truck, we decided that I would text her, 2 people, text them that I have my truck. Before I drove off the lot with my truck, I called the one girl, and I never call her, and I think I've told this story before. I've called her, and I go, oh, I know I'm not supposed to call you at work, and I didn't expect you to answer the phone. I got my truck. I'll talk to you later. She said, okay, woohoo, right, and hung up the phone. And then I texted the other one. And it was when the 3 of us got together and we were talking, I said, I just had this urge. I said, overwhelming urge to do that. I said, I could have waited till later. They said, Bev, that's what we programmed for. That as soon as you got your truck, you would text us and say, I got my truck. And I did. I texted, but I said I got my new truck because we had talked about possibility of it being a used truck. But I got a new truck. So the idea is, through meditation, the affirmation of what you want and what you desire, and then a visualization of what it will look like, feel like, taste like, smell like, who's going to be with you, what are you going to say. One scene, just one scene, not a whole movie, but just one small scene, like clicking glasses together or shaking your boss's hand when he says congratulations on your promotion, or sitting on the beach at your ideal vacation location that you've been wanting. Scripture says all you have to do is ask. Ask and you shall receive. Seek and you shall find. Knock and the door will be open to you. The other one, which is always my closing mantra, I want to call it that, and that is Matthew, the 9th chapter, the 29th verse. And it says, as you have believed, let it be done to you. So that's what I want for you, is as you have believed, let it be done to you. And it is so. Thank you for listening today. I hope that what we shared with you today is a blessing to you. Don't forget, you can receive a free Silva Ultramind ESP System mini course valued at over $100 and start using the Silva Ultramind system today to help you make the rest of your life the best of your life. To get the free course, go to silverfox.silvacourses.com. That's silverfox.silva, S-I-L-V-A, courses.com. Click on the newsletter link on the left side of the page and follow the instructions. If you have any suggestions for the show, send them to me at Beverly@commandingyourlife.com. And don't forget, I have a free twice monthly Commanding Your Life telecircle on the first and third Thursdays. You get the opportunity to learn more, to ask questions, and to become engaged. So more information on the circle can be found at meetup, MEETUP, commandingyourlife.com. That's meetup.commandingyourlife.com, or go to commandingyourlife.com and look at events. Join me next week for another exciting and interesting topic or guest. Matthew 9:29 says, "As you have believed, let it be done to you." And it is so.